In my previous tutorial, I already taught you how to think procedurally. If you haven't seen it, I will link it in the description below. But in order to talk efficiently to Houdini, you will need to learn some vocabulary. Let me show you something. So let's talk nodes. Nodes can come in all kinds of shapes and colors and will have different kind of interface elements. The obvious ones are those little circles on the top or the bottom of each node. These are the connection points and are used to link nodes with each other. The little dots can be color coded and they help to keep track of those connections, or they come with a little red warning triangle that will tell you immediately what is required for this node to work. Once you hover over a node, you will see this kind of circular interface element with different kind of options. Let's talk about those options. The first two ones I want to talk about are the display flag and the template flag. Click on the right side of the node, it will turn blue, and the geometry will be displayed in the viewport. You click on the display flag of another node, this one will be displayed instead. If you want to see both nodes at the same time, you will need to create a merge node and set the display flag on this one. Next to the display flag, you will find the purple templates flag, and it allows you to overlay your object as wireframes in the viewport. If you want to exclude a node from being recalculated all the time by Houdini, you can use the freeze. Once clicked, the node will record its current output and is saved with your hip file. This will get quite handy and will save a lot of time. Select the yellow arrow to skip a node. This will not longer evaluate it inside the node tree. This gets super handy if you quickly want to compare the node's effect on your setup. And last but not least, the information icon. Click it and you will get all the parameters, attributes and information regarding this node. Super handy. Across the interface in Houdini, you will find different kind of nodes, but the same principles apply to all of them. So here again is a quick overview of the interface elements we just tackled. So now that we know how to interact with the nodes, let's look on the different types of nodes that exist inside of Houdini. Let me come up here and click on this little plus. Then at the new pane you see like we have this top section, and let me quickly toggle on this tree view for you. We will get rid of it in a second again. This tree view provides you with this kind of folder-like structure. This is actually how a Houdini scene is composed, out of these network folders and networks inside of them. You can navigate these folders with the network pane. So if I come up here and click on this section, you see I will have access to the same network folders like over here. And once something lives inside those folders, you can just open it up and then you see our box here. It lives in this geometry container inside of the object network. But let's get rid of this again, because we will have it here. But you can already spot a lot of acronyms in here. So let's talk acronyms. The naming convention is all pretty similar and follows the same logic. The OP always stands for operators and is combined with another descriptive word. The object nodes are basically containers that allow you to build and transform hierarchies. All the nodes inside such an object node container will inherit any transformations at the object level. Geometry type object nodes, for example, contain subnodes, which we will actually use the most. Subnodes or surface operators can represent 3D objects and are used to modify geometry. For instance, you can use a transform node to move, scale or rotate your object, or add a mountain sub to displace your geometry. Just for the sake of completion, I will go through the list of all the node types so you will have a good overview. But as I said, we will mainly focus on the subnodes in the beginning and tackle other types one by one as we move forward to not get overwhelmed. The DOP nodes, or dynamic operators, handle simulations like fluids, cloth, or particles inside so-called solvers. VOP nodes, or vector operators, allow you to create custom shaders or modify attributes using a slightly different node-based workflow. The COP nodes, or composite operators, they just got an overhaul and are the latest addition to Houdini. They are used for image compositing and texture work. We will definitely tackle those as well. Chop nodes, or channel operators, deal with animation and motion data. For example, you can set up random noises or sinus waves to drive an object's parameters. ROP nodes, or render operators, control rendering and output settings. Easy as that. LOP nodes, or lighting operators, they live in the Solaris context of Houdini. Solaris is the umbrella name for Houdini's scene building, layout, lighting, and rendering tools, based on the Universal Scene Description, or USD framework. Task operators. Top networks contain task nodes that represent a series of tasks or work items to be performed. These come in handy when you, let's say, want to automate certain things, like you want to save each frame of your animation as a single OBJ. Okay, but that's enough. Here we are in a new instance of Houdini, and let's build our first node tree together. Okay, we learned here in the object view, we need to first set up a container in order to create a space where our geometry can live in. So let's hit Tab to access the node tab menu, and we can just start typing geometry and hit enter, get a little preview, and we can put down the node wherever we want. With a double click, we will jump inside, and up here you will see that we are now inside the geometry context. In here, when we hit tab again, we have access to a lot more nodes, and they are more specialized for this kind of geometry operations and really modeling things. For this tutorial, I was thinking about what can we do as a first little node tree, and I would say, to stay on brand with our space theme, we model a little asteroid. So we will start with a sphere, polygons, that's fine. I put it down here. The flag is immediately selected. Turn around, have a look at the sphere that we built. I usually like not to work with a polygon mesh, but with a polygon. You see, we will get this kind of more really regular triangle structure. We can crank up the frequency a bit to get even more polygons to work with. Let's say we go to 8. Now underneath we can drop a mountain SOP. Wait. Connect it, and we will highlight it. And as we learned before as well, we can use the template flag to see our sphere in the background in order to get a better understanding of what the mountain SOP does. We just displace our geometry. We can say, if it just push it basically outwards, we can change the noise, we can crank up the size, make it smaller, maybe even a bit bigger. And under the noise, I want to select the Wally noise, because this gives this kind of rock shape kind of structure. Maybe we come back, we crank up the resolution to have more data to work with. And of course we can combine this by holding down Option. I can drag a node out, and I just need to rewire it. We have 2 instances of a mountain SOP, and in here you can say we do the centered version. We really lower the amplitude and also shrink the element size down to get this kind of little uneven things in here. And very quickly we build ourselves a very nice rock. We can say match size, With the top and down arrows, I can navigate through it, enter, and we connect it. And this node is super cool because it allows you to transform objects very, very easily that before needed to be done with a bit of scripting, which I will show in a later stage. We are now interested to let this object sit flush on the ground floor. Right now it's really hanging in the middle. So we come to the y-axis and say minimum. So our minimum of the object should touch the floor, and like this our stone will be always sitting on the floor and like not penetrating it. The cool thing now is that we could always come into this mountain sub and, for example, change the offset, and with each iteration we generate a new stone for us. We could even come in and take a different noise. It looks less like a rock. Let's come back to this whirly noise, so that looks a bit better. I usually like to organize my node trees. It doesn't matter like how long they are. Once I'm happy with the outcome, I usually end with a null object. This is basically just an empty node, and this always helps to reference inside more complex node trees. So I will say out rock and highlight it. And all the nodes that are containing parameters that I can change to influence the look of my object, I like to color them. And you can do this by either clicking up here on this little panel or hitting C on the keyboard. And this will give you access to this kind of cool color palette. And once you have a node selected and you click on a color, it will color the respective node in this color you selected, which is quite neat and makes it easier in very long trees. You can even go for a more flashy color to really make it pop, or coming up with your own color logics, and you can say, okay, render nodes I always color red, or this kind of changeable nodes I color green or blue, and so on. You can also put all these nodes into a container and name this container to really give an overview in more complex structures. So we can say this is our rock generator, a very basic one for now. You can also change the appearance of each node by clicking on this little icon here or toggle it on and off with the shortcut Z. And here you see all kind of shapes the nodes in Houdini are being shipped with. So if it's like an out node, it's cool. If you have something like this, you can also color it, and like this you have a good overview. What is also cool in working with nodes, let's say we want to see different kind of versions. So we branch out one of those mountain subs. Here maybe we crank up of course we need to check it on. We will crank up lower the element size of this node in order to get a more pronounced rock. And let's say I'm not happy with this node, so I don't want to have it connected anymore to this node tree. I can hold down Y on the keyboard and I will get this little scissor, and once I click and drag, I can basically draw over the node connections and they will be cutted, which is super useful once you miswired something or you copied a tree and sometimes they are like still connected to the original tree, so you can just quickly come in to cut it. Which is also cool is once you take a node and you hover over a connection, you will see it will snap and it will already start with this little preview. I hope we can see it. We can zoom in a bit. And it will have these ghost lines, and once I let the mouse go, it will connect the node and automatically join this node tree flow. You can also pop it out by just shaking it, and like this, the node is also disconnected from the tree. Let's delete it. And there's one last thing that I wanted to show you in this video. So up here under the tools, and I was going mad by searching for this. I saw a lot of videos of people that had this kind of grid structure or dot structure in the background. So when you come to tools and you see here grid, you can toggle on the grid points or the grid lines, and under this view icon or shortcut, once your mouse is over the network view D, you can open up the network view display options, and here you see the grid spacing. So if you want to make it perfectly squares, I think sometimes that gives a little bit more orientation inside your node trees. Okay, I said that was the last thing that I wanted to mention, but that was a lie. Sometimes, and I will just quickly get out this node again, or you will have nodes that are connected like over a very long distance, and it can get very confusing because this line can go through another section of a node tree. So when you hold down Option, you can click in here and it will create this little connection point which you can drag and reposition in order to make your viewport a bit more streamlined. And you can also hit Shift S in order to change the connection style to this more, let's say, flowing lines that are also trying to not connected in a straight line, but like more with like a little curve, and then you would not need this kind of thing. But you see, and longer the connections get, then sometimes then less visible they get. So okay, but this was it for this video for now, and in the next one we really have a look how to model a proper object. See you there.